There's a question every golfer has wondered at some point. How do my drives compare to the best in the world? The subject of distance in professional golf, though, tends to lead to an immediate focus on PGA and LIV Tour pros. On this occasion, though, we turn our attention to how far pro women golfers hit the ball, analysing how regular amateurs compare against them, while at the same time checking out who has the longest drive in women's golf. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're turning our golfing focus onto how the average amateur golfer stacks up against the best women pros in the world. And as with all discussions of distance in golf, we've got to start with the driver. The average male amateur golfer drives the ball a total distance of 225 yards according to Arccos's analysis of tens of millions of drives, 35 yards shorter than the LPGA Tour average distance of just under 260 yards, based on LPGA Tour official data. And here's the kicker. LPGA players achieve that distance with almost the same driver swing speed as the average male amateur. Now if you're a female amateur, that gap is even larger. The average women's amateur drive is around 178 yards, a whopping 82 yards shorter than the top women pros. So when you see players like Nelly Korda or Charlie Hull casually hitting 270 yard drives, it's clear we're watching a level of precision and power that only the lowest handicap amateur male golfers can keep up with. Driving distance isn't everything in golf, and despite not even being in the top 100 longest drivers in the LPGA Tour, Lydia Ko has still managed to win both the Olympics and Women's British Open titles in 2024. But as the stats gurus consistently point out, it is critical to scoring in the modern game, given how the long game explains 2/3 of the difference in scores between all levels of golfer. And as a result, we've seen the average distances pro women golfers drive the ball consistently rise over the years. Since the great Laura Davis topped the LPGA Tour driving chart in 1993 with an average distance of close to 255 yards, Nathakrita Vongtavilap, the current longest driver in the LPGA Tour, has added another 35 yards to that mark 30 years later. But when it comes to who's the longest drive in women's golf, and whom Golfing Focus would consider to be the biggest hitter in the women's game, we would argue it is the Dutch player, Anne van Dam. While Vongtavilap has only been playing in the LPGA Tour for a little over a year, Van Dam has consistently topped the driving distance charts on both sides of the Atlantic. Her career total driving average distance since she debuted in the LPGA Tour in 2019 is 284.4 yards. And with her driving distance averaging almost 300 yards twice across the 2021 and 2023 seasons, Van Dam can certainly lay claim to having the longest drive in women's golf. Moving on from driver and starting to look at how far women pros hit other clubs, technology now makes that task much easier. TrackMan has been measuring average LPGA club distances for years. And TrackMan's data highlights LPGA pros hit the following average carry distances: the distance from strike point to point of ground impact, with 3-wood, 5-wood and hybrid as follows. When it comes to club distances for woods and lower lofted hybrids, we have to factor in, however, the wider variety of shots golfers play with these clubs compared to driver. Nevertheless, we can be pretty sure that the vast majority of the time players are looking to maximise distance with these clubs, and these are how these yardages compare with the total distance average amateurs hit these clubs. And once again it appears only low single-figure handicap male amateur golfers are matching the distances of the top women players. When we then focus on iron distances, the picture becomes a bit more complicated. And that's because golfers, and the top pro female players in particular, hit such a variety of different shots with their irons, especially for their approach shots, depending on a whole host of factors: ground conditions, wind, elevation, etc. Not to mention the tournament context in which the shot is played. However, pro women golfers, like all top players, have what is called a stock yardage for their irons and all their clubs. This is in short the average distance they hit a full shot with each iron swinging normally, and it is these average yardages that TrackMan highlights in their stats. Bearing in mind then, when we compare Arccos's total distances that regular golfers hit these irons to TrackMan's carry yardages for the LPGA Tour pros, the consistent picture of only single-figure male amateurs matching the distances of the best women players in the world continues. And then when we look at the stock iron yardages of a selection of the top pros, including the best female player in the world, Nelly Korda, together with Maria Fassi and Anne van Dam, two of the longest hitters in the women's game, we can say they are not hitting the ball as far as their male colleagues in the PGA and Champions Tours. But as these numbers also show, the longer hitters in the women's game are hitting the ball further than even the lowest handicapped male amateurs. Wedges are the most versatile clubs in any player's golf bag, are used in the widest set of circumstances compared to all other clubs, and pro women golfers are masters at using them to get the ball both close to the hole and out of trouble. Different women pros also use varying combinations and lofts of pitching, gap, sand and loft wedges, as do amateur players. The question of how far pro female golfers hit their wedges compared to amateurs is therefore again not straightforward, and we have only TrackMan and Arcos data for pitching wedges for direct comparison. However, for the sake of completeness, here are the stock yardages of some top players so we can get a picture of how far they hit their wedges at varying lofts for you to compare against. So that's it again for this video. Thanks for joining us in Golf in Focus. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed it. And as ever and most importantly, we hope you're enjoying your golf.